All right, guys, homework 5. Today we got to learn substitution method. So you've got to solve for an x and you got to solve for a y. Two answers, one for x, one for y. Let's solve by substitution. You've got your two equations. What I try to do is find the easy letter to work with. Like this has a 5 in front of it. This letter has a -3 with it. This is a 4 with the x. But here, this is the gold. This is a y. Already solved for all by itself. Like, yeah, that's the one I want. So as soon as I have a nice, neat letter solved for, I'm going to substitute from one equation into the other. So here's my one equation, y equals 4x plus 1. Take the other equation and slide it right in underneath here. 5x minus 3y equals 4. So here's y from one equation, here's y in the other equation. We're going to take what y is equal to and we're going to substitute it right into the second equation. So what we're doing is we're just going to plug it right in there. That's what's going to happen. So this now looks like 5x minus 3, and then y is equal to 4x plus 1, equal to 4. All right, we just substituted one equation into the other. We've got it all lined up. Let's clean it up. Let me move it up here where you can see it a little better. So we have 5x minus 3, 4x plus 1 equals 4. Now, what you've got here is a -3 that's going to distribute through the parentheses. So watch out, -3 times 4, -3 times 1. Minus 12x minus 3. So the -3 hits the 4, -12x. -3 times 1, -3. Okay, let's keep my x's right there. Add the 3 to the other side. Now it looks pretty good to solve for x, like terms. -7x, 7. Oh, x equals -1. Okay, we did good. There's an x and there's a y to solve for. We just found x, it's equal to -1. Now you can just run back to the beginning, grab one of your two equations right here. Usually students like to pick the easier one to work out with. You can pick either one of this. Probably the bottom one's a little easier this time. So just choose the one you like. You like the bottom one? Let's do it. So you pick the bottom one. You just found that x is equal to -1. And you can just substitute that right in there. So we took the answer for x, plugged in for x. We can use that to solve for y. So y is equal to -4 plus 1. Looks like y is equal to -3. Now you've got your two answers. X equals -1, y equals -3. You have to write this as an ordered pair. So ordered pair, you have an x coordinate, y coordinate. The x always goes first, -1. Y goes second, -3. So that's how you write your final answer. Okay, solving by substitution. That was our first run at it. Let's take another move here. All right, second one. Let's see what we got. So x plus 4y equals 14. Okay, again, you've got two equations, and you've got to solve for x, and you've got to solve for y. Now, the great way to do is see if you have an easy letter to work with. Maybe you do. Not this one, it's got a 3 in front of it. Not this has a -3 in front of it. Not this got a 4 in front of it, but right there. There's an x all by itself. He's easy to work with. Grab him. So take this equation, x plus 4y equals 14. Solve for the easy letter. Get him all by himself. Move that 4y out of there. So now you've solved for this you have 14 minus 4y, that's for x. So here comes the substitution part. We worked with this top equation, got it solved for x. We're going to plug into the other equation. Like we know x is equal to 14 minus 4y. The equation we've not worked with is this bottom one right here. 3x minus 3y equals 12. So we're going to substitute from one equation into the other. Substitution method. That's our goal today. Whoa, that's not a very good 12. So we know x is equal to 14 minus 4y. Let's go. Drop it in. 14 minus 4y. It's all right in there. So we got to distribute, multiply through the parentheses. Looks like you've got 3 times 14, 42, 3 times 4, 12y minus 3y equals 12. So now we're on our way to solving for y. I'm going to keep my y's together. Let's subtract that 42. Can you still see the 42? Yeah, it's still in there. Clean this up, clean that up. What is this? Negative 15y, negative 30. And then you got a negative divided by negative looks like y is positive 2. So remember, there's two answers you got to find. You got to solve for x and you got to solve for y. We know the y, it's equal to 2. So now our job, we go back to the very beginning and we grab one of those two original equations to plug this y equals 2 back in. You guys always like to pick the easier one to work with. You can pick the bottom one or the top one. Let's just pick the top. It looks a little easier. X plus 4y equals 14. And we know y is equal to 2. So we take our answer, y equals 2. We substitute it right in here. And we have got this. Okay, so I've got an answer for x. I've got an answer for y. When you write your final solution, it has to be as an ordered pair. So you got an x, you got a y. X always goes first. Y goes second. Ordered pair is how we write our final answer. Okay, I've got 4 of these lined up for us to look at. Done 2 of them. Halfway home. All right, number 3. Ha ha ha. A little trickeration coming right at us. Okay, again, 2 equations, 2 letters, solving for x and y. We got to find x, we got to find y. I always like to work with an easy letter to substitute in for. You're like, oh, well that was easy. I didn't even have to move anything. Y equals 3x. They're like, now your radar's up like, that's a little too easy. There must be something going on, Mr. Reporter. Well, grab what you know y is. Y is equal to 3x. We're going to drop this into the other equation. So this 3x is going to drop right in. What's y equal to? 3x. What are we plugging in for y? 3x. So let's solve it out, get an answer for x. We got 4 times 3. That's a little low. Let me rewrite it up here. 12 minus 4. Whoops, lost my x. Sorry about that, guys. 12x, 12x, 12x. And that's 12x. So suddenly, you see the trap that has been set. 12x minus 12x, gone. Your letters, your x's, your variables are gone. Now, when that happens, you have no variable to solve for. You got to get into that true-false situation. So we've got true, we've got false. If this statement turns out to be true, then you're looking at an infinite amount of solutions. If this statement turns out to be false, no solution is going to work. So this will be no solution. All right, let's examine it. Does 0 equal 0? Is it a true statement or a false statement? In like this case, oh, 0 equals 0 is true. So if it's true, then this one turns out to be infinite solutions. If that had turned out to be false, like 0 equals -8, then it'd been no solution. Okay, so be on the lookout for the trick questions. All right, 3 of the 4 examples, done. Let's do one last one and throw a fraction in there. Okay, one last one. X equals 8/3 y. All right, here we go. When you get an equation that starts off with a nasty fraction, you're like, oh, I don't want to deal with that nasty fraction. Just grab that equation and change it. So here is x equals 8/3 y, and we're always on a campaign to get rid of nasty fractions. See how there's a 3 on the bottom? I say we clean it up. We can multiply both sides by the 3. So whatever they divide by 3, I'll multiply by 3. But you got to do it on both sides. Those are the rules. Now what's great is those cancel out. And so you've changed your equation from this to that. So now our problem will start over with 2 equations, but no fractions. So now your new top equation looks like this. 3x equals 8y. X minus 3y equals -2. All right, so now we're starting over with a crisp, clean equation with no fractions. Okay, so solving by substitution, always like to pick an easy letter to work out. No, yep, right there, X. So grab the easy letter to work with, if possible. And once you've identified, yep, that's the one I want, you solve for him. You get this X all by itself. So that will look like, move that over, a -3y over here becomes +3y. Okay, so I took this bottom equation, I identified an easy letter I wanted to work with, and I got it all by itself. Now I've got to substitute from one equation into the other. So I have my equation x equals -2 plus 3y. My other equation is up here. This is what I plug in for. 3x equals 8y. So I'm substituting from one equation into the other. 3 times -2 plus 3y equals 8y. So we got it. We drop it in there. Now we can just distribute the 3. -6 plus 9y equals 8y. Want to solve for y? I can put the y's on this side. That might save you a step. So I've got my numbers on one side. I got my letters on the other side. Uh-oh. Gonna have to divide out the negative. Looks like y is equal to 6. So you've done great. You got to find 2 answers. You found y. Now you just go back to find x. So from here we go back and we're like, okay, going back to the beginning, I just get to pick an easy equation to work with. You can pick the top one or the bottom one. Let's just pick the top one. Why not? 3x equals 8y. Take what you found for y. Y equals 6. Plug it in there. 3x, 8 times 6 is 48. Looks like 16. And then remember, every time you go to write your final answer, you've got an answer for x and an answer for y. Write it as an ordered pair. X goes first, y goes second. Do you see that? Yeah. So there's your ordered pair, 16, 6. Solve for x, solve for y. There you go. All right, guys, substitution method. Have at it.